My name is Alex Demczak, and my one last thought is that leadership requires no title. And I think a lot of us in life, we wait around for the perfect job, the next promotion, the next opportunity to be in a leadership role to make a difference, when the reality is you and I can make a difference right where you're at. And a perfect example of this, and a story from my own life, something that I had to learn, was when I was in college, playing college football, and I was living the dream. I was playing a Division I football program at University of Missouri. I was a walk-on quarterback. I was living the dream. I always dreamed of playing college football, and I was living those dreams out. And just to fast forward, there's a long story, but just to fast forward the story, going into my junior season, I walk into a meeting room because as a walk-on, you have these yearly, walk-on meetings, and I walk into the meeting room going into my junior season, and the coach he walks me in there and he says, "Alex, sit down. I need to tell you something. We've over scholarshiped at quarterback. We've brought in too many people at your position, and we don't have room for you." And to me, at that point in my life, football was my identity. Like, that's what I did. That's who I was. That was every part of me, was football. And here he's telling me, like a business transaction, like, we don't have room for you. We don't have a spot on the team for you. And I was so crushed in that moment. I can't even explain it because football was so big to me at that time. And he said, "Alex, you need to decide right now, but you have two options. Either you're cut from the team, you're done, and your second option is you can be a volunteer assistant coach for this season. Like, you're making copies, you're printing off copies, you're making coffee for the assistant coaches, you're doing all the little things to make this organization run." And at that time, I was humiliated. I was so angry. Like, why would this happen to me? Why would something I'm so passionate about be taken from me? And I remember sitting there at that table, and I ended up saying, you know what? I just felt called to stay there. I felt called to stay part of the team. And so I said, you know what? I'll stay on as an assistant coach. And so my entire junior season, I stayed on. I did all the small things, the things that I thought maybe were unnoticeable. While all my friends were living out their dreams, they were doing all these great things on the field. I was on the sidelines. I didn't really have a role. And my entire my job that year was to hold a flag, and when someone jumps off sides, I would throw the flag to make sure that they didn't jump off sides again. And so that was my role. I went from being an SEC quarterback to a professional flag thrower in an instant. I literally was sat at practice, or would stand, I guess, and I'd throw the flag. And that was my role. And at so many points my junior season and during that time, it was so challenging because I felt like I have no role, I have no title, I can't make a difference. And so I had to make a decision during that time. Am I going to let this define me and who I am, and is this going to be it for me? Or am I going to seek and try to make the situation better and learn from it? And so during that year, and not to boast on myself at all, I had to be humbled in some ways. And so I did all the little things right, but some cool things that happened during that year were that I was able to have conversation with guys on the team that maybe I hadn't connected with before. I was able to relate to people who would go up to me and say things like, "Man, that's really cool that you stuck with it. I would have quit." And I was able to forge relationships through my vulnerability that I maybe didn't show to other people before. During that year, I started working on my first book called Thrive You. It's a daily devotional book that thousands of people have benefited from since then. And in that same year, while I was cut, we started a student organization called Coach's Corner, where we would have speakers come in and speak on leadership. And so all these cool things happened during my junior season. Fast forward to my senior year, I get back on the team as a quarterback, got back to what I always wanted to do. And it was a great senior year. It was a great cap, ending to my career. And when I look back on my career, honestly, I would argue that I had a bigger impact the year that I was cut from the team, the year that I had no title. In all the years that I played, the year that I had no title is the year that I made the biggest impact. And so the reason I share that story is not to boast on me in any way, is to share this. You can make an impact, you can make a difference wherever you're at. And if you make the decision, hey, I'm gonna be so concerned about impacting other people and making them better and making a difference and adding value and serving other people, you'll be so busy doing that that you won't have time to look around at your other job opportunities or job titles or where you're up on the depth chart. You won't have time for that because you'll be so busy making a difference in other people's lives.